Decoder for $2,040, which comes with free installation, 24/7 customer and technical support all year round, and 1 month free subscription for only $510 thereafter. Get the decoder at Excaf Gambia, located at Hendon Court Building, former Dream Park, Senegambia, or through approved dealers. For more info, call 446-1060 or 446-1061. The world is at your fingertips with the Excaf DTD decoder. Hello Gambia, your television experience.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
That's how she became mine and see that.
All right.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
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 What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings, 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, JAwara.
Agada di.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada di.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Mbare.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Bari si kodo kino katon nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kono kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi Marong. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi manin domorol di fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale di.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
barka ba. Ni lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bukani la ko la barka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Barka.
Welcome to the brunch. I'm Lavin Chang, welcoming you to another edition of our weekly current affairs program here on Kerr Fatou. This week we will talk about the law. The law being discussed in Parliament and the law as it affects prominent pro-democracy activist Madi Jabate. All charges against him have been dropped. We learned from a communication from the police. We will discuss that in our news review. And we will also talk about the amendment bill, local government 2020 we should say now, that's still been debated in Parliament. And how would it, if at all, affect the crisis in the Brikama Area Council chairmanship? Now, with me to discuss all these things is a full panel today. I have on the far left, the Honorable Sanna JAwara is from Upper Fuladu West in the National Assembly. Nyima Kamara is a co-panelist on Kerr Fatou, political science lecturer at the University of the Gambia. And I have Barrister, get me, how do I, can I say the name I know?
No, just the...
Abdoulie Fatou, Barrister. He will help us make sense of all the jargons you may hear from the Honorable MPs and myself. And of course, the Honorable Saikou Marong is from Latrikunda, Sabiji. But of course, he's a Badibunga. So, welcome, Honorable.
Thank you very much, and then thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you, Nima.
Thank you.
And Abdoulie Fatou, Barrister. All right, let's kick off with what is on the table, which everybody really must have just had yesterday. Police announced they have dropped charges against Madi Jabate, who was charged with false publication and broadcasting when he criticized the police for not doing much in investigating 3 deaths linked to security forces. And then, of course, we had he was reporting to the police and was due to a report again on Monday. But yesterday, we had the charges were dropped. Let me ask you, I start with Nima. Nima, how did you receive the news?
So I'm just going to be brief about this. It's something that we expected would happen because this is not the first time it happened. For example, when Dr. Cisse was detained overnight, charges were not brought against him because obviously there was nothing to charge him for. Yeah. When Mama Kande was called, when Fabakar Tombo was called, the same thing happened. So all of us knew that this was a case of somebody feeling uncomfortable by what Madi Jobata said. But being uncomfortable doesn't necessarily mean criminal. It's not a criminal case.
Are you suggesting that the police just come up with sort of a reactionary method whenever criticism is leveled against them?
Because
even though they know
it's an established culture within our system that the police cannot be criticized or people in power cannot be criticized. So in the past, this is something that you would expect from the government that felt that they are above the law, that nobody can say anything negative against them. So every time they feel uncomfortable by what you say, they come after you. So this is it's a new era, and because the system hasn't changed, the culture hasn't changed, they feel like they can do the same thing that they have been doing in the past, and it's going to be acceptable.
Okay, let's hear from the expert, some interpretation. When Barrister Abdoulie, when you heard that Madi has been charged with false publication and broadcasting, from what he had said, I mean, he expressed his opinion that, in fact, okay, even whereas Black Lives Matter really is important, but here in the Gambia we have to look inward, and we have cases that are still not being investigated, 3 deaths linked to security force, and the police said he suddenly said something that was false. Do you think he should have been charged in the first place?
No. Madi was simply expressing an opinion. An opinion, if I may add, that is perhaps shared by the majority of the Gambian population. And what the Act actually stated, I think it was Section 181A, false publication and broadcasting. So the ingredient for any potential successful prosecution is actually concerned with the falsity of what he actually said. But
actually what he said is false.
It's false. Okay. That's part of the ingredient. But as far as we all know, since the death of the 3 individuals that Madi mentioned, the circumstances surrounding those deaths, whether they were murders or otherwise, but as far as we know as a public, there's not been any formal inquiry interrogating exactly those circumstances, and even if there were, as far as we are aware as a public, no such was ever declared publicly. So even if it were done and it was kept confidential, then Madi, like the rest of us, have a duty to express an opinion in relation to what they believe to be the police or the state's inability to investigate those deaths. So any right-minded individual looking at the charge would have known that it was going to be almost impossible for the state to actually sustain that charge against Madi. So even if they had proceeded, I think it was just going to be a simple matter of just wasting their time, Madi's time and the court's time. I don't think they would have achieved a conviction.
People said all this trouble is there because the law, there is this bad law there, which they can use, to intimidate people or to bounce on you whenever you raise an issue that's sensitive to them, etc. Now the lawmakers are here. Sanna, Honorable JAwara from Upper Plateau West. Is all this trouble not your people's inability or unwillingness to change this law since you come into office in what's supposed to be a new Gambia? Honorable Marong and JAwara, starting from you, JAwara.
That's an attack.
It is an attack. And, but I'll take the blame. I think you're right. If you go back and see, the spirit of change came 2016. You could not ask anything less than what you asked for. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, political and otherwise, we were not able to do what we were supposed to be doing. something I will not just stand here and defend myself or defend ourselves, because lawmaking is our job, is one of our primary jobs. So we should be doing that. But I think what I can say for now is that the floodgates are now open to entertain private members' bills. It has been a long struggle between parliamentary systems for us to come up with such bills. But now, since the introduction of
local government
amendment bill by our colleague, I think now that is something that we can entertain, and this is an opportunity for us, and some of us are already banking on it.
But what was your initial reaction when you had Madi been charged with this thing? How do you feel?
I was at the police station now with Mr. Fatou, Council Fatou, to show solidarity with Mali, but we didn't stop there. While we were at the police station, I tried to reach both the IGP and the Minister of Interior to show them my take on the whole issue. I think there is much more to lose than gain, even if Mali was supposed to be guilty of any offense, because we have to look at the broader picture. Gambia is going through a transition where our reputation is at stake, where there are so many other fundamental issues within society that we need to actually consider, and also our gains that we have registered so far on the security sector reform process. I think bridging the gap of trust between the security actors and the civil society to bring them closer. I think this is only going to make that gap much wider. So I thought there was a lot more to it than what Mali has done. And I agree with the previous speakers that I don't see this going any further than just a stunt of a threat on Mali's own dissent, because in as much as the act is very specific in what your opinion should be, compared to compared to national interests. There is a fundamental provision of the Constitution which is primary, that Mali can actually cling on and claim his rights.
So no surprise there, therefore, when you had the police drop the charges?
No, I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you, and I think, that's a good move, and I think they should not stop there. They should actually, come and reassure the public that such things will happen.
The police, well, maybe they're trying to save face. They said this was achieved through the negotiation, intervention, or mediation of the Human Rights Commission.
It should not have been the case, in fact. The police should have seen themselves and advised themselves better that we don't need the intervention of the National Human Rights Commission to actually be able to drop these charges. They should actually advise themselves better to see.
Honorable Marong, this law, like I said, I started with him, that you are supposed to change all these bad laws that the police or somebody will capitalize on to stifle dissent, so to speak. You haven't done that. How was your reaction, and what have you done since Mari was charged with this?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cham. As my honorable colleague says, yes, we could have, amend these laws, the bad laws that we are all talking about today, but it's rather unfortunate. Since we came in office back in 2017, because we came to Parliament with a purpose, at least to change those bad laws that are in our law.
Exactly.
But it's unfortunate that we fail in that aspect.
Exactly.
That's right. And we are blaming ourselves for that. And then as he said, the local government amendment bill, that's a private member bill, but also to remind my honorable member and then the viewers, Section 911D came to Parliament as a private member bill as well, because the then minority leader committed a private member bill to amend that portion of the Constitution of the 1997.
So it started with that one?
Yeah, it started with that one.
Okay, all right.
So, but notwithstanding, I know now we've all learned a lot. The local government amendment bill that is before the Parliament right now, I know is a learning point, or is an eye-opener for many National Assembly members.
So we expect that you will bring many private bills to amend these bad laws we've been talking about.
Well, we will do our utmost best to see, the best way to address some of these issues, some of these bad laws that are in our our 1997 constitution, not only that one, but the other laws. Because we believe the purpose of this National Assembly, we should come make a difference. We should come amend the bad laws. But in one way or the other, we are all consumed by politics. And that's the reality.
Exactly.
Let's put that one straight. That's reality. When you come down to the issue of Madi Jobate, yes, the police charging Madi is something that I didn't welcome. It's something that I didn't like at all. Because I believe he is a citizen, he's a Gambian. He have a right to his opinion, and he should have the environment to express his opinion. That's very important. Government dropping the charges, that the police dropping the charges as in Madi also, I think is something that I really welcome. Because we should have a government that should listen to its citizens. That's very important. We have to understand that one. If you ask ourselves, who is the government? We are the government. So when we spoke and the government listened to what we are saying, I think that is it's a plus for us as a citizen and as a guy to the executive also as well. So I'm seeing these as a win-win situations. Government listening to its citizen, and citizen also doesn't stop at the corner. When the issue of money comes out, we see a lot of people, likes of Honorable JAwara and other citizens, went to the police station to show their dissatisfaction to the police. That is the charge that they say the Mahdi is going to be charged. And then today the charges is dropped, because yesterday I heard that and you actually say that the charge has been dropped against Mahdi. So this is something that we really welcome. And I hope such will not be repeated again, because we have a country to build. We don't have an individual to build, but a country to build. When we build a better country in the future, we will all have live in, the environment will continue for all of us.
Exactly.
So that's my take.
Cham, just very briefly, in terms of legal reforms, in terms of these really repressive laws, the section under which Mahdi is charged, 181A, in the draft criminal offences bill 2020, that was actually, I think, was tabled by the Attorney General before the National Assembly. The same act, I think now in the draft bill, it is now found in section 154, but exactly word for word. Actually, the new section goes even further to contemplate issues of social media and over digital platforms. So, for example, if you've uttered these words through some over electronic devices, you may still be caught within the parameters of the law.
Instead of removing, they even introduce an even more glorified.
So it is there, and this section, this particular section, was actually amended, was brought in, I think, in 2004 or 5 by Jammeh, and we knew that was purposely try and restrict and limit people's expression of their opinions. So this is a broader debate, and I'm sure we have amongst us here lawmakers. I'm sure, but it is a process, and I'm sure the circumstances will gradually change while we aspire to try and amend and change the laws that are not consistent with our democratic values.
So instead of even removing them, even introducing an even more glorified attack on expression of freedom, Honorable JAwara. Did you take notice of
Yes, we did, and he's very right. We are fully cognizant of those advances, but these are advances now. It's not a private member's bill now. These are advances now of the executive. So we will do our part, and that's why now we believe whatever is not necessary now will be amended or repealed from other.
And your partisans would really not really kill that spirit, because you mentioned partisan politics is at the heart of all this inability to change all these bad laws.
Well, I think sometimes it's very, very important for us as the lawmakers to come together and look at the interests of our nations once and for all, and then forget about all other things that is surrounding it. Yes, sometimes we may have laws that will be in favor of your party, but sometimes we may have other laws also that is against your party. But I think in the issue of this draft constitution, I think it's important. We will come together as a member of a parliament. We look at it holistically, close by the close, and see the areas that we think that need to be deleted, and we will. And the areas we feel that should be adjusted, and we will do that one as well.
I want to spend a little bit time on this, even though I'm in a hurry to go to jump to the other issue. We had an analysis that Parliament probably may not even have the powers to do anything with the draft. Do you agree with that? That you cannot change anything. We had some analysis like that.
Well, I think we have a lawyer within us, and he will be able to advise. But to me, from my understanding of this draft, I think the Parliament should have a right to amend some certain clauses that we think should not be part of this draft constitution, or the new ones that we think you should introduce. But I think he will advise us.
And when you really have an opportunity to tell people what you may like briefly, for example, what would that be? For example, would you want the Constitution to be applied retroactively? Like, for example, the controversial 2 terms, which the Constitution wants to start in 2021, or considering this current term of the president. Would you agree to that, or you would have loved that to be deleted?
Well, at this moment, my take on that will be, let's wait for the right terms to come.
But it's not difficult to guess where you.
No, but it's very risky sometimes to guess.
Okay, let's go straight to the next topic, and that is the Barrister Abdoulie Fatou, the Local Government Amendment Act that's really causing a lot of controversy and attention in the National Assembly. Is coming up. I think what is left now is for voting, etc. And this is important, and it has gripped the whole nation, and it has to do with the Brikama, area council chairmanship crisis. What we understand, the layman understand from the Local Government Act, is that once an elected official in the council ceased to become a member of the political party that sponsored him, then that elective seat is vacant. That's what is understood generally from the Act. Now, the United Democratic Party have done that, and they still feel that because the government is not happy, they wanted to protect Mr. Saikou, so they introduced a private member bill in Parliament so as to seek parliamentarians to pass that bill that will stop that process. And they want that bill, once passed, the law to apply retroactively, that is to cover events or rights that have happened in the past. Now, this is what has been the topics in Parliament. Before I go to the members of Parliament who are debating this on both sides of the divide, what do you understand from it? Let's learn from you, what exactly is the Local Government Amendment Act talking about?
I have to be very honest in terms of the bill actually being debated in Parliament at the moment, in terms of the actual clauses. But from my understanding, it seeks to reverse what is currently in the Local Government Act, i.e. A person who is expelled from his or her party would still remain in the National Assembly. So I guess and understand that is what the private bill is seeking to remedy
for the councils.
But we have to look at the broader context. Section 91D of the 1997 Constitution states that a member of the National Assembly shall leave their seat if they cease to be a member, i.e. if they're expelled otherwise from the party which they elected them to the National Assembly. But that has been amended, and I think from Honourable that came from through a private.
That's why Honourable Marong was expelled.
A private member. So he's concerned. That's why he's
a good idea.
So a private member's bill, but effectively, we have to look at the intention of that amendment. I think the intention of that amendment is linked to the political circumstances that we find ourselves.
At that time.
I think that is self-serving, and it's done purposely to try and increase Barrow's political capital in the National Assembly as opposed to decrease it. So effectively,
but at that time there wasn't any division as it is now. So
publicly,
publicly. Yes, that's right. We went publicly. So I'm assuming that time there was a general consensus among the National Assembly members that, look, this is a bad law and needs to be changed. I think they oversighted to amend the council one.
Yeah.
So it will not be accurate to say perhaps there was already consideration to decrease or increase Mr. Barrow's political power. What do you think?
Whatever it was, but
you think the intention was not sincere?
We can only speculate, but my speculation is that the intention was that even if the person were expelled, they will still remain and retain their seats in the National Assembly. Like I said, that amendment was done in relation to the Constitution, but not to the Local Government Act. The draft Constitution in Section 141, if I am right, has now reversed it. So in the draft Constitution, so if you are either if you decide to join another political party, or you remove yourself from the the political party in which you were voted, or opt to sit as an independent, like the Mr. Marong or like Mr. Marong, then you shall vacate you shall vacate the city of the city. Yeah. So in a way, that's been reversed by the draft Constitution. But in respect of the current impasse between the UDP and Sonko in Brikama, there is generally a presumption that statutes are not supposed to be retroactive. That is a presumption, a conventional presumption. Section 100 sub 2 of the 1997 Constitution states that a person shall not be deprived retroactively an accrued right. But I think that will be linked to rights accrued as a person. But the same section goes further to say subject that the National Assembly may pass laws retrospectively. So in as much as it is uncomfortable, and I believe we have to look at the and I think this will probably end up at the Supreme Court to look at the legality and the constitutionality of some of these things. But from Section 100 sub 2, it looks like the Constitution has given members of the National Assembly powers, or I don't know, somebody's got the Constitution here, powers to, if they wish, to actually pass bills and make them retrospective.
Okay, which means in this case particularly.
But I just want to be clear, but I think that is what is stated in Section 100 sub 2.
So does that in this case means that if the bill, the amendment bill is passed in Parliament, it could then definitely stop or erase whatever the Act says as to the current fate of Chairman Sonko?
This is going to be the debate, and I think this will have to end up in court, because at the moment the duty and the role of the ICC is to enforce, and not to interpret. That is left not to the executive or the legislature, but to the judiciary, to the courts. So once, I believe, under the local governments, once the IEC has been notified of the person's expulsion from the party, then I believe they ought to start the process of holding elections. As far as I understand, if the requirements are satisfied. But in respect of whether or not that will now apply, in this case, we know it is the intention of this bill. Perhaps we can guess is to try and protect the guy. Even though any law, the start date will so if this bill is passed next week, generally it has to be as by the president, and it will show a commencement date, which is normally a forward date that it will show. So generally the legislations or statutes will have a future commencement. Generally the case, but in this case now, going to Section 100 sub 2, would we have a case where it will have a retrospective effect? If that were the case, I suppose the UDP will go to court to argue that the intention of that primary legislation actually defeats, and it has to be.
Well, quite an enlightened analysis of the situation. I mean, from a non-partisan party. I know that I can guess what Mr. Marong's position is now. But let's start with Mr. JAwara. Mr. JAwara, is the intention of this bill clearly to protect Chairman Sonko? Is that how you feel about it?
Oh, obviously.
Why?
No, it's a general knowledge of things that you know what you know, even though you cannot actually put your fingers on issues to say this is the reason. But I want to take us back to the whole issue about both this provision in the in the local government bill, or the Local Government Act 2002, as well as the Section 91(1)(d) of the 1997 Constitution. Most of these bills are introduced to address a circumstance. Going back to 1970, there was no such bill, there was no such law. And what happened then was the JAwara administration abused the lack of this provision and killed the smaller parties.
Okay. During the PPP regime?
During the PPP regime,
So
they will let no members to go in areas where they know they have no support and vie on their party tickets, only to come to parliament as members of parliament and make them cross carpet and offer them ministerial positions.
I see.
Hassan Musa Kamara was one of those. MC Chang was one of those. One Mr. Kante, Honorable Kante, I think was one of those who have resigned from the UP and cross-carpeted to PPP, and eventually UP was left with only 3 members in parliament. That sort of like discouraged Sir Penjai to even go home and not come back to parliament. And eventually he was expelled from parliament because he didn't come for 3 sittings. More than 10 sittings or 3 sittings at a time. Now, in that case, what happened was the JAwara administration was able to dominate the political scene and stayed in power for over 30 years.
Yes.
And they could have been there for another 30 years. Nobody could have removed them from
Had Jammeh not come with his guns.
Exactly. So then Jammeh came and introduced this law and safeguard all the parties. Not only the APRC, but his, other political parties too. So if you go to Kiang and buy on the UDP, if ever you vacate or leave UDP, you will vacate your seat.
Okay, so people, from your understanding, people thought the law was bad because Jammeh wanted to take total control of
both instances that I just mentioned now were abused by the executive. Because Jammeh now, because it was more like a one-man show. He could just decide to sack anybody from the party and, automatically you will vacate your seat.
But it really served everybody.
The intention was to actually safeguard, and that's what we need in this country. We need political parties to be protected so that opposition can only bring out the best out of any administration as far as accountability is concerned, as far as democracy is concerned. But unfortunately, because there is prone for abuse, these were abused.
I see.
Now we can come to our term, we repealed that law, and at the time, as was mentioned now by Mr. Fati, the sole intention of repealing that law was for ourselves. It was not for political parties, it was not for President Barrow. It was because we want our independence from being expressed from our parties in case we want to future certain interests from our party's interest. Okay? Right. But what we didn't do, which was not honorable, was we did not go ahead and address Section 102 to make sure that we are still accountable. Because right now, as we speak, nobody can touch us. Not the president, not our political parties, not our electorates. And if you look at all this, what I'm seeing here is, what are the electorates say in all this? Because right now, the electorates have no say if the law is repealed as it stands. But it would have been better if we had the law. In hindsight, Section 91(1)(d) should have remained. Because what it does is you might be sacked from your political party, but the people will have the say to either re-elect you back under another party.
They
can they can still recall you. Well, they cannot recall you because Section 102 is not enacted.
You people didn't do that.
We knew.
Yeah.
We knew. I mean, that's why there's no scent. There's no scent in the room. We are all guilty as charged.
Yes.
We have not.
You only protected yourself with that amendment.
So
and
now,
forgot to give the electorate, in whose name you always say you are representing.
Exactly.
To have a right to be able to recall you.
My take is, what moral compass are we using here to come and say we want to actually take care of our other guys in the councils when we haven't actually done what was necessary for us to make sure that we are also held accountable. So to me, Section 91(1)(d, even if at all, I would encourage the UDP, should we come into government 2021, to bring it back in.
Exactly.
Because the UDP might not be able to sack other people from their party, but the people they represent will have a say whether or not they want to that guy to remain to be their representative or not.
I see.
But if you leave this and we become government, UDP can abuse the same law, because then people can cross carpet anytime, and what that leads to is dictatorships. Because you become so powerful, you kill all the smaller parties, you will have no opposition, and the people suffer. So that's my take on this issue. And talking about the law in retrospective, I think the bill did not seek to do that. Everything is left to the objects and reasons of a bill. The bill was not seeking it to be retrospective.
But that's what they would love. If it's passed, that's what they would love.
No, if let's say the chairman who is actually now in the midst of all this wants to seek redress, he can go to the courts after the bill is enacted. Yes, but the bill is not even enacted now. So there's nothing related to Saikou Sonko as far as Saikou Sonko's case is concerned. This is the law that affects him.
And that is Local Government Act.
Yes, and as it stands now,
provide that he should quit.
Exactly. So there's no dispute about that. If this law becomes enacted, that means if it's passed, and then the president assents to it, and then eventually become law, then Saikou might want to seek redress from the courts.
After he had already left.
Yes, by invoking Section 102 to see where they can seek redress and have a respiratory right on it. Which I don't think that particular provision is what I'm trying to.
So as this stands now, him clinging to power is illegal. In office is illegal.
Since the case is out there and might be subject to court rulings, I don't want to comment. I don't want to comment on that.
All right, thank you very much. The Honorable Saikou Marong, you supported this bill, and you're going to continue to support it. Honorable JAwara is saying that in fact, he painted a whole analytical situation which said it is in the interest of the country to protect political parties, so that people will not just be like political prostitutes. They will go use the party's popularity and get elected, and then turn back to the party to get. Probably there's some people in your constituency even accuse you of really taking advantage of UDP's popularity there, and once you get elected, you kick them away. Is that not the case?
Well, thank you very much.
For
putting this to me. I think this is a very important topic that we're discussing today for the Gambian people to understand what we are really doing at the parliament. Because if you are those following us since last Monday up till the end of the week, found out the parliament was very interesting. Every Gambian was so much interested in this.
We are proud of you.
Yes. So we're looking at the local government amendment bill. That's what we are looking at. And then you mentioned the case of Saikou. This come up when the issue of Saikou Sonko was that when Saikou have a problem with his party. But what I just want to remind people is that let's just go back to 2017 when we amended the upper age limit. When we amended the upper age limit, then the then vice president was there. She did not even sworn in as a vice president. But because we amended the upper age limit, that gave her the opportunity, to become a vice president. So let's understand that one also. So let's
So it was not only the MPs
it was not the issue
whose bread were bought.
Exactly. So that's the reality. So what's happened right now is that the political cloud have changed. The way things were before and then how it is today is different. Because now everybody wanted to protect your political party.
So
everybody want to say that this is
partisan politics has set in. Exactly. The spirit have changed before.
Exactly. Because we should have do better in terms of this. When we were amending the upper age limit to favor an individual, this is where we need to set a good example and tell them, look, we are not supposed to amend a law to favor an individual at these certain circumstances. That is wrong.
Okay, so you mean at the time it wasn't just the MPs, whose breads were being bought with amendment to that law, But people like Usain Dabo, Fatmata Tambajang, who would not have been appointed in the cabinet had that law not been changed, you went ahead to change it.
You've forgotten two other gentlemen, Honorable Alifa Salah, Honorable Sida Jata.
Yeah, they
were all favored now by that.
Exactly. This is what I am trying to say. So what we should do is that, we need to set a good example. A cap that should fit all. That's very important in making law. But we cannot make law yesterday. We think that is a bad law, we amend it. And we come back to that bad law today and say, no, yes, it is a bad law. But when we amend this one, that means that our political parties are not going to be safe. We should have said when we are amending that upper age limit, look, when we do this one in the future, what do you think what do you think that is going to happen in the future as we are in today? Because it's politics, you can never tell what will happen tomorrow. We are in today. Yes, today the political cloud is not favorable between the president and the UDP or others. But tomorrow it can come back to normal, who knows?
Yes.
That's politics, that's how politics works.
Also possible, yeah.
And then coming down to section 911D, yes, as the honorable member say, when we were amending section 911D, the interesting part of it, the person coming with this private member bill was among those who even go against that section 911D, says that this is not right, we are not supposed to do this. He talked about the Recall Act in the 1997, which is not there yet. But all the blame should come back to us. Because we have an opportunity to come up with a private member bill to amend that portion.
Yeah, because you didn't want to expose yourself.
No, of course. If anybody come with a private member bill to amend that portion, it simply means that you are giving back the electors the power to deal with their representatives.
But none of you thought about it.
No, none of us thought about it at that moment.
Because I was in favor.
Yeah, not that I would favor us or not, but we didn't think about it, and we should. Yes, but now it's not still late. Honorable JAwara or myself or whosoever can come with a private member bill to amend that portion. All right? Okay, coming down to this section, this Local Government Act, let me remind people, Local Government Act, if you look at the section 20, it's simple. What it says that there is this section that the electorate can do to petition a Kerr person. That's Saikou Sonko. If you want Saikou to seize office, to move out of the office, you can use that one. The electorate, the power should go back to the electorate. This is what we are trying to do. This is what we are trying to want Gambians to understand.
But the Act also said when you cease to become a member.
Yeah, that one is there. That's what we just amended. That is section 19. Section 17.
You want to amend that one?
No, yeah, that's what we are on. We wanted to.
Why do you want to amend? To protect him?
We are not doing this to protect Saikou because
why
the issue of
timing now? Why the timing?
Because the same time when we are amending the upper age limit. Just ask us that. When you talk about the timing, let's look at these two timing. So myself,
so basically it boils down to the current political reality.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Because of the political cloud is
realities now.
This is why we think that.
So it's not wrong to say that this bill is intended to protect Mr.
No. It's not going to protect Mr. Saikou Sonko. As he rightly say. Because Saikou UDP has already expressed Saikou. If this is the intention, is just to protect Saikou. We have said that no, we cannot do this now because Saikou is being expelled by the party. But the purpose of doing this one is that in the future, we don't want a scenario where political parties are going to abuse our law. So that is not right.
So you don't care now what happens to Saikou now, if the law can take its course?
No, I don't care. That's the law. Law is just a law. Whether it's in your favor or it's
but you don't dispute that. The law says once he ceases to become he should leave.
Well, that is left to the interpretation of the law. And I am not responsible to interpret the law of the Gambia.
Exactly.
There's a body responsible for that, and that body, maybe call them in, and then you have a meeting with them. But what I'm talking about is that this Local Government Act, the purpose of this section 17G, it was an amendment in 2015, brought in by the then government. Well, what happened? According to the genesis, there was this councillor in Bia who they wanted to fire, but they could not because there was no such clause in the Local Government Act. That's when they come with this, because they say that no, section 911D is in the 1997 constitution to protect the political party or to give power to the political parties. All right. So why not? We also do the same thing in the Local Government Act. So it shows that this clause that we are amending was initially not part of the Local Government Act at the first place. So this is what we're trying to remove. And my purpose, the intention, the reason why I am supporting this Local Government Act, it was not for Saikou Sonko, but for the future. So that the political party, let the power go back to the electorate. The people are not going to vote me in. Let anybody go and amend the recall clause. And if they have the required votes, that's the 50 clause or whatsoever, to recall me, it is their right.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add something to what he just said. We have to be mindful too, of like the flexibilities of these two laws. In the members of parliament case, you need petition of only 1/3 of your registered voters.
Only 1/3.
Only 1/3. In the case of councils, which are bigger, the smallest council I think has over 6 constituencies in their region, apart from Banjul. And it means you need 50% of all the registered voters in that region. In West Coast region case, from Kallaji right down to Koina, to Katong, and to just over Senegambia here, all the constituencies in this region need to know half of them. And let's look back at Sirifo's election. What was the voters turnout? About half or less.
Half or less.
Yeah, it would be practically impossible for even if all the the registered political parties come together to get that 50%. So right now, as we speak, it's practically impossible to use that provision. The only accountable tool now left is for people who are not satisfied with their representatives to petition their political parties, as in Sirifo's case. Petition their party to say, this guy is not serving us. From since he took office, we have not seen anything, that is equivalent to what we are putting in as far as our taxes and rates are concerned.
What makes you believe that it is the majority of the people in West Coast who actually wanted him out now?
No, I'm not saying it's the majority of the people.
The party, the majority of the party, UDP, really wanted that.
Well, to be honest with you, with the resource base of West Coast region, I would expect to see more of development in West Coast than even KMC. So if I gauge myself in that situation, and then I'll gauge myself compare Sirifo to, for example, KMC Taliban Suda, I would say Sirifo has a lot to deliver in terms of development.
I mean, he should have more resources than Talib.
He has more resources than Talib. Only for the 3 hotels in the Gambia, Sirifo has
even if just performance alone, you are not satisfied with it.
No, I'm just saying that's my view.
That's your view.
I'm not saying what.
And that's the view of some UDP.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think what he said that's very important. You're looking at West Coast. But what we are trying to say here is very simple. Let's give power back to people. We are in circumstances that people are trying to abuse some certain clause of the Local Government Act or that's what is happening. So in order to address that one, yes, we know when the people of West Coast feel like Sirifo is not performing to expectations. If I am those living in West Coast region, I will not look at Sirifo being part of my party. But what I want in West Coast is a development. But let's follow the due process whereby we're going to give power back to people. That's important. In the future, because we are all calling for democracy. We say New Gambia is democracy, and that's what democracy is all about. But it always, this is what I say when I was doing my my debate, and I'm happy with him when he was doing his debate. He pointed out that this is a bad law, but the timing is wrong. Thank you for saying that one. It's a bad law.
Well, the issue is, before we go, we are going to become actually later to talk to the people there, what they feel about all this impasse.
I mean, for me, just sitting here and listening to all of you bring everything into perspective. I mean, it paints a picture that's so sad for those of us who are not in parliament, who are in politics or not in politics, to see that this is a house that people feel is their last resort to remedy all of these situations. And then, if I have listened to you perfectly from during JAwara's time up to this point, it seems like parliamentarians use the law as a political tool to secure gains for themselves or to punish their opponents, and that hasn't changed. That's exactly what is happening here. And I think that's where we now need to depart from, to look at these things critically by examining both sides of the situation. The timing is very convenient. We could say it is not meant to protect Sirifo, but it is Sirifo's case that triggered it. And for that, the intention is not, it's not based on good faith. If you're an outsider observing what is happening, as it was not in good faith when Jammeh introduced it as an act. And it is not in good faith also when Parliament start to protect themselves. All the amendments that have happened since 2017 up to now, it's either to favor an individual or to protect a set of individuals. Nothing is done for posterity to really see into the future and say, even when we are not here, what is the impact going to be with our action now? And I think that's where we really need to depart as parliamentarians to look at what the impact will be in the future. I think the debate needs to be broadened outside of the parliament, even within our public space, to see what is the way forward. How do we hold our elected officials accountable? The reason why the role of the party here is important is because we are in a multi-party democracy. Democracy comes in different forms. When you want to give power back to the people, separate from their role within the party, that is going to give you a different system of democracy. But if you're going to fall back on parliamentary democracy, multi-party democracy, we really need to empower. I agree with Honorable JAwara, we really need to empower political parties. This way people can act through their political parties, as they do when they elect you into office, for example. People don't just vote, they vote through their political parties. So if they're going to recall their parties to hold them to account for failing to serve them the way they're supposed to, I don't see anything wrong with doing that again through their political parties. But I'm just going to emphasize that as we have this debate, please let's be as objective as we can. And let's remove ourselves, because you're only having 5 years you're going to go. When Jammeh was introducing this, he wasn't looking at what is going to happen in the future. 5 years later. He was looking at what can I do with this law now. And that's the reason why we're now struggling through this to see how do we really...
And Mr. Chair, I'm sorry again, but I have to say, interject here. There is this picture, one brush that everybody, they want to brush all political parties with, to say that to make the political parties look like they are the culprits in all this. And I want to deny that, and simply because my party was summoned to sack me, to dismiss me from the party by the executive. But the party refused to. So if the party is abusing such rights without considering what you stand for, the principles that you were defending at the time, the values that you are actually promoting, they could have sacked me as well. I could have been a victim as we speak now. But the parties are not out there to try to just jump on people and sack them just because they have that power. They want value. They want good representatives who are going to actually be ambassadors for them. Out there, and that's
is the Brikama case not also as a result of the fact that Mr. Sonko shifted his alliance to Barrow and the UDP felt vindictive?
Mr. Cham, I think
we have to be very mindful, because as journalists, you can be very speculative, but you have to know the merits of the whole issue around Sirifo Sonko. People of West Coast petitioned the party. To sack Sirifo Sonko from the party because he's no longer representing them. They didn't say that he's supporting somebody else. No.
Okay, Mr. Cham, I think it is very important here we look at the genesis of how we came to office as a National Assembly member. And then the political cloud was very favorable between UDP and then the president, that's Adam Obama. We all understand that one. It was very, 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 very favorable. All right? Something happened in one way or the other. Then UDP claimed that, look, these are our MPs. But let's remember, we're the MPs. Barrow also invested in us.
In you?
Yeah.
In what
way? He did not invest in me.
No, we invested in very, very objective.
Honorable.
The reason why we are here...
Honorable.
No, why does it... Let's go back. We have to...
Honorable. Honorable, you are a honorable member, please, I beg, don't say things that you cannot substantiate. Barrow did not invest anything in me.
Of course.
No, he did not.
In you?
No, yes. Yeah, so when you generalize it, you actually
actually. That in the name of the UDP. When he was a member.
This is what I say.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Then the money was very nice then. Okay. But now there is a division between us.
Yes.
Now people want to claim that yes, we are UDP. These people run on the UDP ticket. Let's remember when Barrow came in office, when he was interviewed, what did he say? I'm UDP.
Yes.
And we all clap for him for saying that he's UDP. Because we believe that putting Barrow into office was not only just a collective responsibility of Gambia, but in fact UDP was in lead. That's what we are all saying. And when Barrow was going on a tour, we all believe that Barrow was campaigning for UDP, and that's the reality.
Yes.
So when we are in this today,
Yeah.
we want to say that yes, this is our MPs, they want to betray us. Sometimes we need to be very, very, very objective and see what has transpired before today.
Okay,
it's important.
All right, now what should have been the role or the responsibility of those MPs such as you who disagreed with the party that brought into power? One would have thought that if there arises question of trust, you would have simply resigned and seek re-election and see whether you are still popular.
But why would I resign?
Yes,
when the party? No.
Because you are quarreling with the people.
I am not quarreling. Look, let me put this
now
to you.
I'm asking.
Now let me put this to you. Latrikunda Savage, we have a total registered voter of low plus 32,000 voters.
Exactly.
All right.
And the majority of them were UDP.
No, wait. That's why I'm
you
giving you the analysis for you to understand.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
UDP will score like 4,000 plus votes out of the 32. APRC scored 4,000 plus. The difference between UDP and APRC was then 200 and something votes, plus votes. NRP scored some votes.
Yeah.
GPDP.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
What's it? GDC also.
Yeah.
They all scored some votes.
Yeah.
Right?
But not enough to get them elected.
Yes. But it shows that the minority is leading the majority. The whole
it shows that the UDP doesn't have absolute majority.
Majority in Latrikunda Savage.
Yeah, that's what it was.
All right. But when Barrow was going, what I'm trying to tell you, when Barrow was going on a tour,
yes.
Campaigning for UDP, that was the right time we should have told Barrow, please stay away from our party. Allow us to do it our own way. We cannot say something yesterday and then we say no, because of this happened. There's a division between us and Barrow, UDP and Barrow, not me.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. And we all know everything is on the board. It's clearly written on the board.
Yeah. Okay.
But we cannot just come to
Just on your question there.
Yeah.
Both myself and Honorable Marong are elected under the UDP ticket.
Yeah.
And like you rightly said, right now the question should be, is Honorable Marong in touch with the UDP base in his constituency?
Exactly.
If he is not, what should not have been his position?
He should have just resigned.
Because both ourselves and the president are UDP candidates. We are UDP candidates,
yes.
and that's why we were elected into office.
Yeah.
The best thing to do, if you cannot if you cannot actually again relate yourself to that political base, the best thing to do is resign from the party. You don't need to be expelled. Go back to the people and seek re-election, because that's that provision.
May I say something with regards to
the
that?
best time to do that one, when we were campaigning, when Barrow was campaigning for us, that was the right time to say, Barrow, please stay away from this.
Why?
Why? So why do we want to blame him today?
No,
why do you want to blame me? What is the crime that said? What crime did I
Nobody's
commit?
May I say
No,
something?
we just have to understand.
Nobody's blaming anybody. What he's trying to say, because this time, all thing election and all business is a question of trust. Now, if you give me trust and at some point you disagree with me, what I should do morally is to give up and seek a fresh mandate. But that is because if you don't fear that you will lose this my election.
May I say something with regards to this? Just quickly. I don't want for this to sound political or that I'm seemingly attacking you. But here is the thing. What the scenario you've painted here is that we have different parties that contested in your area. All of them, or majority of them, voted against you.
Yes.
So technically, you do not represent them, although you represent the constituency. But technically, because they voted against you, you do not represent them, right? The people who voted for you.
Anyway, no.
Because
once I'm elected into once I'm elected into office, I represent everybody.
That's true.
That's it.
I accept that.
All right, good.
I say technically, because they have voted against you. Yes. They chose somebody other than you.
Remember, also it's politics. They can go.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying. I'm coming. Just let me come.
Okay.
The fact that you are in parliament is based on that UDP base that have voted for you, that have chosen you over the other candidate. Okay. So if you part ways with the ones who put you in office, technically again, you do not represent the ones who voted against you, yet you are no longer representing the ones who voted you into office because you have parted ways with them. And that's why it makes sense from that point of view to say that I am not representing anyone in parliament now because those who voted against me have not put me here. Those who put me here, I have parted ways with them. So who are you there to represent? Although I understand that your representation is for the constituency,
exactly,
but technically you are no longer representing even your base that put you into office.
So you are basically you are saying he's only clinging to office.
Yeah.
Because the constitution have been amended, and he could rely on that and still.
But yes, still, this is what I'm saying. Yes, still, there is this clause that we know any of them can come with a private member bill to amend that section of the law.
Oh well,
that's going to give power to people to recall any MP that they think that is not serving their interest.
Okay. So now let's break to hear the opinion of the people in Brikama, that's West Coast region, about this whole saga involving Chairman Sanko.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham. We are today at the Brikama Market to sound the opinion of the people here about the expelling of course, Chairman Sanko from the United Democratic Party. So we go inside the market and, of course, seek the opinion of people in the market here. For your support, the UDP, of course, Chairman Sanko, ya expel Nyamen Party.
Yeah, for anyway, boy, no, so I support no, okay, because UDP mu kafo melanko abuka koronto no pray yala na ay kuoke no so additional mentana ngata le no because anyway ni ajibe brika mala lo jubi abanya membo no yen shilo jubi abanya membo no sirifo time sanji sababe jangi no ndol man kuje ndol meta ni marché to bari man fenje no so nga support wala la no suma boy pray abay no because ni tamon dogo ke no boy nim do sina melanko sa dogo ke no brika ma aboni hala lo ko no boy because ndol ni nakata boy kabirin JAwara for ya jame boy for shine boy no brikama dali no boy man na radio buka fendo kuntole boy no tuma boy no o kedan tole jang malu baldi yalla ne no tuma brikama be nyame ten nyame no brikama Gambia ko na nyonte je no ani sata o nyonta Gambia ko no boy no bara juba ala halo be nyame boy no boy mol dala na o damma fo damma ten nat na kay sirfo na gate anyway daga te boje rek no
bar sirfo la sioni santema hadi ngi naji marse ko no ala do ko mu jelet bar nena ma jenya la do to bira bota tu birim bota ya tu ba kuta sirfo mala do kuje ntel musol min batata noma amanna fa fenna amanna fa tusil mala do kuje nga support le bi nga support sam hante da mala na pa hadi bi fa ngata lokoti je fa nim banon
e lafta ay boje biya boje sama kambiya mbatata le so kontel musolu mbatata nse nin carte fayo sita nse bori hanen na do ko muka kenu nin min kanye ta musol jube sirfo Sonko mala do kuje bi mala do kuje sam ha hanen te lenye bungoto nen nyata mota fa ko bi nga sirfo Sonko je nye bungoto bi mota gere bi
mbarnge sirfo Sonko kay so kon tel Brikama fils marketing call ni momo sita ilo tay ko carte keso pour ka faye win ndel ka faye le pour so man nafa anina funding kel ndingol ila nafa banko kan lafta wala basilan de comme député lelo ani kansulo lelo ngatara carte faye kambe wule no mabe ko be kele pour niaje me wule no nka wuri no male pour soma mfana salo ko nga carte di hinela bari ay nafale ay place o itanina mfana nyanta na nyanto soto la nyami ba sirifo Sonko kabri alo tanyi banko nyi Gambia ko janto sirifo Sonko musol la carte kesol siata kela carte kesol bar musol kata sirifo Sonko no mebe wula no mebe ko be kala no sirifo Sonko man ten na fa fen sirifo Sonko na se fali na fali ni do belo la do elo no fa na makeku nga bonni ngata na hajo
sirifo Sonko ala bayo ma support
munatina ka UDP pour ya bay ma support munana ite ma support
ndama support katun hanna lota o senke bi parti hanna lo alota wole na fay mole cartelia mas ala le ya tambindi bar ni sumun faamu sinindindi mala wo bina kala sumanzi katun sa muntu taji aman sanje sabosi
de amere UDP inyanda ka tujele drone follow
ha inyante ya tuje fo sanji lulo timma ni sanji lulo timmata ni mol lota mun kanyeta wotta bar san karte fete keri raw sanketa keri mitinta keri rawanta keri san ya mo jibe abala palaso to ya bondi nyere ya kansulum din molu sano sirfolo tan sanji sabolo kon bar ala lo wati mammi imedale man senke molu nyim bankunka mbeje ya kansulum kolbe domoro munna wato sirfolo tobo tan kola bara do kubali a taraje kadu ni yere akasulu mulota jan sansa tanko mun bije tonti nyimbu mun ba do kul tonya hanna kita ya jeme jamana aya saini wonyanta do kula bara do kuta sirbola man saya tumul
duma si mëna kontaan déggu loolu ma la wax man suma liggéey la am man tay awma dara ludul maquette mom office am fele la man fi moy suma office so fi ko xamne ni dimbalewuloo ma fi suñ la daxé dama sé kontaan kuma fi dimbalé kay bo fi nekkee ma support la loolu la te Sirifo Sonko wax dëgg yàlla si marché bi fii nii ñun mënuñoo wax ne ñun dañ gis liggéeyam liggéey boo xam ne nii dëgg mu ngi ko fee def dégg nga kon tey su fekkee ne tey daaxa nañ ko si poosam man kay lu ma ñaan kay mooy UDP nañ fa teg keneen koo xam ne nii tey su ñëwee dina considérer ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk si marché bi amee pousse-pousse di liggéey si marché bi amee taabal di liggéey si marché bi ndax li nga xam ne nii mooy moom lañ war a fay muy suñ juute dañ koo fay lépp loo xam ne dañ ko war a fay kon ñoom tam dañu war a support ñu mën a liggéey bi nga xam ne nii dañ mën a dimbale suñu famille
follow koro because biri first of all siri fola ko men follow biri kam kol kam fa marse kono kol kam fa la jamma fa biri siri fo sira area council na men na kantel konton konse ko atlamu kol council kutodi o be mbano mo be noma ban na radio ko siri fola development o maje marse kono man siri fola fon feren ndi jamma so ko ni dunda ma so kono fo ni ka kuya so dama atnantel sirfo ko ka intermantaro do da.
Back to you, Mr. Cham. Thank you very much, and to the rest of the people in the studio there. Until next week Saturday on the brunch program. Buba Gajigo, Kerr Fatou. Thank you very much, Mr. Cham.
With that vox pop in Brikama on the impasse surrounding the sacking of, or rather sacking from the party UDP of Sirifo Sonko out there. So those were the views, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I have to announce that Honorable Marong really has a prior engagement, and we drag him to the studio, and we naturally have to let him go to preside over, that event that's happening in his constituency. But all the same, we thank him very much for coming here. We will continue to wrap up the debate by going back to Barrister Abdoulie Fatou. Abdoulie, okay, from what you heard from both Honorable JAwara and Marong, did you have a better understanding of what has been debated in Parliament right now?
Yes, I have been enlightened, because I think for us as a public, my perception was that the primary purpose of this bill is to perhaps preempt and remedy the Sirifo Sonko issue in Brikama between Sirifo Sonko and the UDP. But from hearing from Honorable JAwara and Marong, I believe that perhaps the intention is to give the power back to the electorate to decide their own fate and destiny in respect of their choice of representation. So in that context, I am happy that we had here two MPs, probably from different spectrums, who were at one point from the same party, but I think for Biolocams now they are. But so, and I think that was healthy, and I think that can only strengthen our democracy in terms of we can disagree on issues, but let's come and discuss these issues publicly without actually having to worry about the consequences of because this perhaps wouldn't have happened in the past. So yes, the system is imperfect, but there are signs that this can only increase.
So in the future, looking at the future, what would you advise the lawmakers, as they preside over lawmaking process in the next coming, I think they still have 2 years or so in their term. What would you have them? They both admitted that they really, oversighted or weren't willing to change the bad laws, because at the time they were whining and dining with each other until partisan politics set in and they started to choose which law is convenient for them at the time to change. What would you say in the future should they do?
Firstly, I think after 22 years of a dictatorship, the National Assembly inherited an institution that was extremely weak on the journey, because the MPs, largely APRC, were simply legislating at the whims and caprices of Jammeh. So obviously, a transition from that is always going to be fought with challenges and difficulties.
And I think they've done some, because if you look at 2019 and 2020 alone, and Honorable can correct me if I am wrong, but I think they presided over at least 10 bills in terms of that are really progressive. Access to information or freedom of information bill, even the criminal offences bill and the criminal procedure bill, even though yes, there have been some really progressive amendments or changes, even though there still remain some really terrible laws, but also the corruption and the corruption bill and several other bills as well. So amongst these, I am not so the ones that were private members, because most were, I think, actually came from the executive. The Attorney General's office. Yeah. But I think the most important part, which Nyima raised, I think when our MPs are deliberating and debating on these issues, especially issues that touch on public importance, I think we should look at the welfare of the Gambian population first, rather than the interest of the party or the interest of the executive. And when we're dealing with amendment of laws, such as this one that they're debating now, because it's terrible for any parliament to be, because the supremacy parliament, they can always make laws and unmake laws, as long as those laws are consistent with the constitution. But always making an amendment, amending the same piece of legislation sometimes can be terrible, because it opens these floodgates of abuse, and knowing how dictatorial we can be sometimes in our thoughts and our behavior, in terms of the executive. So sometimes we have to think long and hard, and we have to be really concerned with laws that will stand the test of time. Like they were alluding to when they were changing the amending the section 91 D of the 1997 Constitution, even though the intention was to try and safeguard the primacy of Parliament, but at the same time there were gaps that they didn't probably avert their minds to. So perhaps in the future, and that's because they're always going to be debating these issues, but especially controversial ones that touch on our public life. Obviously, all aspects of public life, but some of them are probably more profoundly, more immediate impact on our lives than others. Then perhaps the consideration should be more enlightened, so as to safeguard the integrity of the statutes that they pass. All right, Nyima, if your students ask you tomorrow or next week to make sense of this political impasse surrounding the Brikama area council, how would you sum it up for them?
Yeah, I mean, before I get into that, I just wanted to re-echo what Abdoulie has said. I mean, compare this parliament to the ones we have during the past 22 years. I think there was so much hope. I remembered people invested both time, energy and resources into campaigning for people like Saikou Marong, for example, the young and educated Gambians that we felt when they come to Parliament they can really make an impact. There was a campaign called Not Too Young to Run, for example.
Not too young to lead or whatever.
Exactly. So there was so much hope. And I think there was also, based on that hope, there was so much shortcomings that they have accepted themselves. And that gives me renewed hope that moving forward we can expect mature debate, as we have seen here, where they can agree on things and disagree on things regardless of their party or political differences. And that's what we expect in Parliament. You can have your politics aside, but when you're in Parliament, you are there to serve the public interest. And when you're serving the public interest, we hope that whatever amendments you make would be everlasting. They can have more positive impact on public life. As far as the impasse in Brikama Area Council is concerned, I think it's a test for our new democracy. When it happens during Jammeh's time, for example, we saw that it was arbitrary because Jammeh wanted to serve an objective, and he changed the laws to serve just that. UDP does not necessarily have that power in Parliament today, even though they have the numbers, but their influence there is being balanced by other loud voices that are in Parliament. And based on that, today we can, if the political impasse in Brikama could now influence the act that is on table today. And we are seeing mature debates around it. We are seeing people across political aisles debating as to how is this going to serve us as individuals, how is it going to serve the public moving forward. I think it's a test that we should allow to run its course so that we know that we can actually expect democratic processes to work in the Gambia.
Okay, I don't want to go with this same topic to Honorable JAwara because his counterpart from the other side of the political debate had left. So now I will round up the debate now with the SOPE, that is the State of Emergency Powers. I mean, we had in the Assembly several voices been raised and questions outside the Parliament by the Bar Association as to how and why the President had to declare another emergency without going back to Parliament as stipulated in the Constitution. Honorable Halifa Sallah of Doi, a veteran, raised a very loud, his voice loudly about this issue. Honorable, can you enlighten us once again? Was the President right to declare a state of emergency without going to Parliament?
I think that question should be for Mr. Fatou, because he's the legal.
Well, yeah, Honorable. Well, of course.
From my point of view,
yes,
no,
he shouldn't have.
It's not in the spirit of the Constitution to have those provisions implemented in that manner. Yes, the only person in the country who cannot declare a state of public emergency is the President, not the National Assembly, not the Speaker or the Chief Justice.
Okay,
the President
can do it
only.
But to
extend it,
yes,
that's the job of the National Assembly.
Apparently, he didn't do that this time.
And the whole reason is to give it equity.
Okay.
State of public emergencies are pros and cons. Where the state can abuse people's rights, the people can abuse their other rights. So it is an issue which have to be equitable. If it is not justifiable or reasonable in the view of the representatives of the people, they have the right to revoke it. They have the power to revoke it. The President equally have the power to revoke our extension. Should be extended. So it is a power sharing provision. It's not owned by the President. It's not owned by the National Assembly alone. It's owned by all of us.
So he shouldn't have declared it without consult this time around.
And normally, maybe Mr. Fatou can help us here. You cannot declare a state of public emergency on one issue
repeatedly.
Twice.
Okay.
No.
It has to be different.
It has to be.
I see.
State of public emergency are prone to actually impact lives and livelihoods.
Exactly.
No matter what the situation is, but if the President feels that if this should not continue, it might cause national disaster. He can declare a state of public emergency.
Okay.
And then come up with regulations to introduce regulations of what they are going to do during that period of time.
Okay.
Now, if those regulations are not fair or they are not implemented well, the representatives of the people are the ones to know better, can go back to Parliament and say, no, we don't agree the way you are implementing these regulations. Therefore, we want you to change it this way and that way, and we agree, we continue. But failing so, we also have the power to say no. We are not going to do it because this is affecting my people.
Affecting my people.
On the State of Public Emergency, Emergency Powers Act is saying that anybody, any person who is, or any business who is affected by the regulations need to be compensated.
Exactly.
Now, who is being compensated? Because let's not mix the two.
Yeah.
Disaster reliefs or emergency reliefs under the COVID-19
is different from
are not related to
compensations.
The State of Public Emergency compensations. They're not. Every country around the world are helping people in their homes to be able to stay home so that they can actually adhere to certain distances.
So the President had no powers to declare or extend this emergency this time around without consulting the national. That's established.
As far as I'm concerned, Section 34(6) doesn't give the
President. That is established because that's what Honorable Sallah and many voices across the National Assembly established. What is the consequence if the President acted that way?
If he acts that way, so whether he is or isn't, that's the bit. But if he is, then that will be an abuse of his powers, and that will be unconstitutional. Section 34(2) stated that where Parliament is in session, it can be renewed, I think, after 7 days, and 21 days if Parliament isn't in session.
And they are in session now.
I think they will. So if you look at it now, I think this is on the 7th of this month is the third time that the president has actually, so he didn't declare, he actually extended the state of public emergency without reverting to the National Assembly. All the people are arguing that Section 36, because the president at any time, that means he has this unlimited power to extend.
That's their understanding.
That is their understanding. If we assume that line of argument, are we saying, therefore, then the president has this perpetual power from now on until the end of 2021, next year, or the next 2 years, that every 3 months or so, every 1 month, he will come and extend? Every objective, reasonable individual would know that there will be an absolute abuse of power. Because in a system of parliamentary democracy where all the powers of the president, almost all the powers of the president, are subject to parliamentary control or limitations imposed by the Constitution. And therefore, going by Section 34(2), I will agree with those who argue that the president should always, especially in these circumstances, go back to the representatives of the Gambian people and give reasons in relation to the reason why, give reasons as to why the executive intends to extend the state of public. Because these are extraordinary times, these are not normal times, and for the MPs to intervene. But in this process, so it looks like the president is exercising unfettered power without any parliamentary intervention or oversight. That is not only terrible for our democracy.
The Bar Association said it's dangerous.
It is dangerous, and it's almost saying disregarding the powers of the National Assembly. And in this whole exercise, I think the National Assembly is perhaps the most important player as the representative of the population. So I associate myself with the statement of the Gambia Bar Association that the free or the continuous extensions by the president without the intervention of the National Assembly is an abuse of his powers.
Right. Nima?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say a few things. We are not legal persons, but if you remember, there was a time when we had the Solicitor General here. We interrogated whether it makes sense.
And he relied on
because even from a layman's perspective, it doesn't make sense to anyone to have the kind of democracy that we have and the president exercising unlimited powers to continue to declare states of emergency. But I think, again, there is a provision in the Constitution upon which they are relying, whether that is by advice given to him by his Attorney General or otherwise, we don't know. But they're relying on something within the Constitution that says the president can give further declarations. And based on that, if you look at the wordings, for example, when extensions come,
They always avoid.
They decline to mention that it's an extension. They call it a new declaration.
A new declaration.
A new declaration, because they understand that the president can make further declaration, but he cannot make extensions.
Cannot extend. So
but even by that, it has never made sense that the president can, because this is one emergency we're dealing with. So you cannot further declare states of emergency based on just one emergency. So I feel like at this point, I mean, it's surprising to me that it has to take the Bar Association to call the president's actions into question, that the parliament hasn't done so. Because I remember they were supposed to table an extension at the parliament, and then they withdrew it.
Parliament
and then
actually they ended up saying that the vice president should be summoned later next week, next week perhaps, to explain. Can you realize?
Actually, one thing I want to clarify. You said you had the Solicitor General here.
Yes,
you had him here
2 weeks ago, and he was defending the extension.
Let's be mindful of something. The Solicitor General advises the Attorney General. Is that all right? The Attorney General then advises the President.
The President,
The President don't have to take the advice of the Attorney General. His job is to advise. But whether the President accepts
listens
his
or
advice
not,
is up to the President. So the blame
cannot
go further from the president. It has to stop with him.
Okay.
We don't know what the Attorney General
have done. What they have done.
So number two, I think Mr. Fatou did actually explain everything that we need to know.
Yeah.
If at all, the president has those powers to time and time again, extend or declare a new state of public emergency, then the National Assembly will become,
actually,
the
bystander absolute
and that's not, like I was saying, that's not the spirit of the Constitution. The extension of it is the prerogative of the National Assembly. Whether they accept or not on conditions, that's their prerogative. Now, does it mean after that, immediately after that, the president can declare a new one under the same issue? That is, open for debate.
Okay.
But then, as far as I'm concerned, I think the president has actually gone out of his way to violate the Constitution.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing would be to come to Parliament because he's been. Well, there's
you
someone,
agree that he should come.
For him, not him personally.
But the vice president.
The Constitution is very clear. The only person you can ask to come to Parliament and clarify anything, such issues under Section 77(2) is the president.
I see.
But then Section 77(3) went further to say that the president, on behalf of the president, the vice president shall come. But then if you jump the gun and go and call
vice president,
the vice president, she can say, no, I'm not coming.
I'm not coming.
Because I'm not the one to...
I'm not the one who might have violated the...
So that was the two variances, the only variance. Between.
So what will happen next week? Will the president or vice president?
I'm aware that Honorable Halifa Saleh seek leave to actually make a comment, and which was granted. And Honorable Yakumba Jete also did the same thing. However, they are both are related. Both motions comments were not related. And then, but Yakumba just decided to amend hers to ask for the president to come instead of what Salah did not asking for the vice president to come, even though we know the vice president will be the one
to come. Okay.
But Yakumba's one was actually declined by the speaker.
By the speaker.
And asked her to write in instead.
Okay.
And our standing orders are very specific on this. If it's a matter of urgency, maybe writing is not necessary. On the floor, the member can just get up, invoke that particular provision of the standing orders, and ask for such things not to happen.
Exactly.
And if you, with the speaker's permission, that should be allowed. Okay. So it becomes a little bit of funny if you accept one's motion, but the other ones you turn it down. But then I think Yakumba will go further and take the speaker's advice. And write in
and ask for the president to come and explain.
And I think the provision you're referring to, then it becomes a mandatory obligation on the vice president to attend and clarify this issue. So it's not discretionary. So she must.
Okay. So she has her job cut
on behalf of the president.
On behalf of the president. And what will happen if the parliamentarians are not satisfied with her answers?
Now you want us to speculate.
Okay, then let's wait till next week what will happen. But for now, though, we have to say bye-bye, sadly. But we hope you enjoyed this edition of the brunch. We will end, of course, with our usual entrepreneur of the week. That will follow immediately after we close the program. So thank you very much, Honorable Sanna JAwara, Opa Fuladu West, Nima Kamara, co-panelist from the University of the Gambia, and we have Barrister Abdoulie Fatou. Thank you very much for enlightening us on all these legal matters. So until we come back here again next week, from me, Lamin Jam, let's enjoy who our entrepreneur of this week is. Goodbye.
say Abdoulie Dixon, originated from Banjul, number 19 Pingna Street. ma gis ne daal saa yu ma jógee ñëw holiday su ma demee Sénégambia o fu ma dem daal dama gis ne daal foreigners si ñoo dominate business bi in the Gambia so dama gis ne only Hatib moom moo nekk koo xam ne understand di Gambian boo xam ne moom mooy try pour Gambian si mun a lifin so ma ne you know what daf dee baax tamit nga am benn ñaañeti Gambian ñoo xam ne dinañ mun a am business nga xam ne Gambian si suy ñëwee ñu am fu ñoo mun a dem dan ñuy dem si understand nga foreigners si understand jël xaalis bi yëpp yóbbu ko si ñoom ñu yóbbu ko seen dëkka waaye su loo xam ne xaalis bi fii la war a des right now moom amaanguma benn challenges xëy na at the moment rek because of definitely Gambian si ñu ma patronize especially time weeri koor bi ak yooyu so dama gis ne maa ngi am support yu bari from the Gambian people understand even sa yenn saa dama dee toog dañ dee wax ne dañ dee ñëw dañ dee foog ne foreigner moom building bi o moom business bi wante suñu xamee ne Gambia moo ko moom dañ dee ñëw support ma ba pare di ma congrats di ma gën a jox courage and hope so wante right now at the moment aw ma benn challenges yoo xam ne moo dinaa ragal o dina ma tax ma delluwaat back fu mu nekk ne I can say roughly suñ pa égut 45 dina ma jaaxal trop o suñ ko passé wut sax is both ko da nga cappa xale yi dañoo ñëw with their family nga sama mag yi tamit dañoo ñëw so restaurant bi it like almost 3 weeks lañ ko ubbi right now but client yi ñoo am is maa ngi si kontaan because si lockdown bi da nga cappa ñuy ñëw di jënda di dem ak ñu dee ñëw toog so da nga gis ne def le loolu maa ngi try fii ba 2 months time dama bëgg a ubbi entertainment behind boo xam ne am swimming pool ak everything ku am sëy ku am event ak yooyu mun naa ñëw di ko fa def ak yooyu bi te reasonable price boo xam ne du ma la charge loo xam ne dafa seer kon dama bëgg a def lu nekk mu yomba pour every Gambians waaw suma team bi su ma waree jàppale moo gis naa ko fu sori waaw but we really have to work together nga xam ne ku nekk dañoo focus because so moo tax ma employ a management team boo xam ne they are the one responsible pour mun a run business bi nga xam ne man dama leen a bàyyi ñu control business bi so far gis naa ne business bi ni ko control is going very well waaw so I believe that fi ba 5 years time moom yes it will be another scenario so na mo dem more further dama expect that waaw but dama bëgg a wax ne at least Gambians pour ñu try ñu encourage suñu moomi Gambia boo xam ne suñ business bi dafa gën a taxaw because ku ñëw at least dañoo ne Gambian bi moom fii o Gambian bi moom fii boo da nga gis ne luñ dem bi xasul fale indi ko fii lañ ko di indi pour développer suñ dëkk bi wante suñ ñëwee toog fii ñu jël suñu xaalis bi dem jox ko fooy na si ñoom dañoo jël comme ñun dee indee noonu dañoo jël ñoom tamit yóbbu seen dëkk so suñ dëkk bi du mu sa développe suñ dëkk bi dafa always dellu gannaaw wante suñ indee ñu support individuals xaalis bu ñu am fii la moo des lu ñu xasul fale liggéey fale fii la moo des wante suñ buggee jël ne non duñ dimbale suñ moomi Gambian dem yóbbu ko fale ñun duñ musa dem kanam te da nga gis ne Gambian si ñu fi nekk ñoo xam ne multimillionaires it's just about 2% so amul loo xam ne Gambian di nga ne every 100 di nga gis benn multimillionaire indi Gambian ñu am xaalis yëpp foreigners yi la so it's time moo xam ne dañ war a try ñu help each and other pour ñu mun a develop mun a grow dëkk bi mun a dem kanam di Old Yundum opposite Radvid Farm si coastal highway bi waaw bala ngaa eega greenhouse 5100651 5100651 thank you so much, thank you very much.
yara ñilla domoro ka diyaten
boy jannon Saikou restaurant
e say nakko be ni na dimbal nimbe domoro kala janno
domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije luntan during tamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de te ka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendin lon dunia kono domoro betama nyillom international o toda number 1
amanke ba domola jandama
e sa domo jang is atariya
a wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandin
e oto sa nakko be mu Saikou restaurant
ndafa nan janna mu yat ni manje dorom bija
aban
Saikou restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
Miss V Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and a lot more. Find us at Kololini Road opposite Gaddafi Mosque at the Aqua Bridge Station, or call us on 295-3411 or 764-2486. Miss B Designer Outlet. Shop right, look good.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox Skincare Plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu ngi United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes you know fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii